You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. So we're coming down to fertilizer. I've been talking fertilizer, plant food. Plant food is so important. I cannot emphasize that enough. So my entire yard's been fertilized. Got that done. Got a few other minerals, just making things happy. Things are shutting down, and as plants turn color, as the days get shorter, they put on these tremendous roots underneath them. So they'll root out through, well into December. It's actually quite amazing. Even without foliage, there's still stuff going on. The sap is still flowing in trees. They are not truly shut down. And so it's a good time to encourage more root growth, and you fertilize that. And they're going to use that food for next spring's growth. That's why it's so incredibly important. Anything that blooms in the spring, lilacs, forsythia, rhododendron, azaleas, fruit trees, roses, you really do need to fertilize now. But the tidbit, the insider tip that I want to give you now for my gardens, there's two things I just despise about gardening. It's just the bane of everything that I stand for. The part of the reason I share so much over the airwaves is I don't like watering. That's why we created computers just to run irrigation valves. And so I've got like 8 valves. They're all run by computers. They're satellite driven. They're interactive with the environment. I've got moisture sensors. It's very sophisticated because I don't want to take a hose out there and water anything. And so I've got computers running that for me. It's pretty slick. I can control it from my phone. It's very slick. The other one that just drives me crazy, it turns everything into work. Weeds. I really despise weeds. Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and the first thing that came up were weeds. This makes gardening frustrating. And so I do some things now that prevents weeds. There's basically 2 main kinds of weeds we grow up here in the mountains of Arizona. There's winter weeds or cool season weeds. Actually, there's cool season plants that we have. You're planting pansies right now because they're colorful. They're one of the few flowers that will actually grow in the cold. There's some weeds that are just like that. So when the pansies grow, the dandelions, they grow too. The foxtail, they grow. And so there's some of the most insidious weeds because they're hard to kill. It's winter, so the usual weed sprays that you use are ineffective. They just don't work. So you're forced to pulling them up by hand. That's work. I'm not going to be doing that. And so what I do is I put down a weed and grass stopper. There's a seed killer that keeps them from coming up. And so I'll put that down now because I know dandelions, they're already starting. The foxtail is right behind him. Foxtail is the one that's just beautiful, lush, soft grass. Then the burr comes up, and that's the one where your it gets into your socks, and it wants to go through your socks, through your ankle, come out the other side. It's got a terrible, insidious weed. Dogs will limp around. It just gets them in their nostrils. It's dangerous for pets. You don't want foxtail, but it's an annual. That particular weed only comes back by seed. So if you can keep the seed from germinating, you can prevent 98% of all your weeds. The rest you can kind of hoe or weed or whatever. So I actually don't have hardly any of them. And so I'm putting down when I fertilize, while I got my hand spreader out there, I'm getting a bag of weed and grass stopper. So it's a weed preventer. I'm spreading that at the same time, right over where the grass was. I'm putting that down. Where the rock lawn is, I'm putting that over the rock lawn because weeds come up in between the fabric, and there's all that silt layer underneath the rock and between the weed fabric. Well, weeds still come up. That's irritating. Weed and grass stopper keeps that all from happening. And it doesn't affect your plants that are already up. So you can put it right around your rose bushes. You can put it through your flower beds, over your lawn, and it will keep those dandelions, keep the winter weeds out of the garden. Highly, highly effective. So you need water to activate it. It's granular, so you spread it. You need water to activate it within 30 days, or you just hose it down, whatever. And usually a bag will cover, I think, 5,000 or 7,200 square feet, one of those two. It's very affordable. And boy, does it take the pressure off of all the gardening. The second time I put that down, so I said there's two types of weeds, winter weeds, and there are summer weeds. The summer weeds show up right the monsoon season. So that rain that happens the end of June, July, that's what activates all your horehound. The tumbleweeds become this huge. The goat head, that's the one that's got this real beautiful ground cover. And if you pull up this ground cover, there's like 1,000 burrs, not maybe 1,000, hundreds of burrs underneath this. Your dogs walk on it and they limp around. Those are all annuals. If you put down weed and grass stopper now, and again in the end of June, you're going to eliminate, 98% of all weeding is going to be gone. It's worth every dime. It's not that expensive. It goes a long ways, but boy, does it take the back-breaking work out of weeding, but it's all about timing. It doesn't affect plants that are already up. So weeds already up, not going to affect it. Tiny ones, but not the bigger ones. You have to put it on before the weeds show up. You got to be proactive. So you got to know when to put it on. That's why you're tuned into the Mountain Gardener. So you know this kind of stuff. So now you're pro on how to keep weeds out of your yard. Water's October companion plants that grow well together are blaze maples, burning bush, Arizona creeper, glamour kale, and spicy mum.
Water's Spicy Mums are best sellers for super long bloom times and local garden tuck.
Spicy mums glow yellow with a halo of fiery orange around each daisy flower.
These big, bold perennials are perfectly shaped and add color in autumn when few flowers are in peak blooms.
You'll find bright fall flowers here at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.